Hi, and welcome to the Happy Progress Podcast. I'm Alex Harris, and today we're here with Leslie Davis. How you doing, Leslie?
Doing great. How about you, Alex?
I'm doing well. To get started, does progress equal happiness to you?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. And the reason that I say that is if we're not moving forward, we're just stuck. And if we're stuck, how can we be happy in anything?
Absolutely. Now, you have an upcoming book called You Can't Eat Love. What a title. How learning to love yourself can change your relationship with food. I'm sure that we all go through this in life. Tell us a little bit about the book and why you wrote it.
Well, several years ago, I had one of those moments that a lot of us have, where you hit rock bottom and you can choose to go one of two ways. And I realized that I was hiding behind food. And so I had to start learning to love myself and realizing that I could love myself and I didn't need food to love me. And so what I recognized is I was trying to eat something that I thought I didn't have.
Yeah.
And that's what so many of us do. Think about the commercials you see on TV, and they've become my least favorite commercials. One of them is where, the child is crying in the bathroom and the mother slides candy under the door. How many times do we do that instead of just saying to the child, the friend, the spouse, what is it that you're feeling? I'm willing to listen.
Yeah.
And instead we hand them something to eat. And so we learn from a very early age to stuff those feelings down instead of acknowledging I'm very sad, I'm very mad, I'm very, whatever it is that we are. And we just try and cover it up with food. And all we're doing is applying a Band-Aid, really. And you've got all this stuff oozing out.
Yeah, I'm sure we can all relate to this. I have kind of weird food issues myself. In high school, I wrestled. And in order to make your weight, you had to do weird things to sweat it out or spit in a cup or chew gum and do all these things. And it almost can make me like bulimic.
Yes.
And then after college, I went and I worked for a weight loss company. I worked at a startup and I was there for 11 years. And that kind of changed my mind about dieting and relationships with food in general. But it was more about how you kind of change your lifestyle and how and your relationship. And then as I've gotten older, I've learned more about mindfulness eating and things like that. And my wife is vegan, so it's really changed how I consume food. I'm not vegan, but I do eat a lot more vegetables overall. So tell us a little bit about how food and the relationship to food has really affected you. And now you've written this book. What do you want to pass on to other people, and how has it affected your journey?
Well, the first thing that I had to learn is that it was okay to feel. And that to me was the hardest part. Because as I said, so many times we want to use food. I call it the drug of choice.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, people will use, all kinds of drugs and alcohol in order to numb pain.
Yeah.
And a large number of people use food to numb pain.
Yeah.
And they may not recognize that they're doing that. So first I had to recognize, that it was an emotional thing. I was trying to fix something, fill something. So I had to get brave. I tell people this. I had to get brave and look at the emotions and see what the food was filling for me. And it took a lot of introspection, looking at myself and then not being afraid to name emotions. The other piece was so many times we will say, you made me or he made me feel whatever it is. Well, that's not true. We make a choice. We can choose to allow whatever you did or didn't do and feel XYZ. For example, you did not put the dishes in the dishwasher, so you made me feel angry. No, I was angry because you did not put the dishes in the dishwasher. So we flip it around where we take ownership and responsibility instead of giving away our power. So I had to recognize how much power I was giving away and how I was using food to numb the anger and the powerlessness that I felt. So that was the first thing. Then we often use, and this was really brought home to me one day, I made a brisket. And as I was taking the brisket out of the oven, I was transported back in time, literally transported back in time. And so many times with different foods, we are trying to relive moments.
Right.
Moments of, happiness, or, when we're together with family and things like this. And so we're trying to relive those moments, recapture them. And we do that by using food as the catalyst. Mm-hmm. Because we're not content in the here and now. And so, you're talking about happiness as progress. Yes, we can't live in the past. We can reflect on the past and enjoy the past, but we need to make progress towards the future so that we can take those happy memories from the past and bring them with us, mm-hmm. and enjoy them in the present rather than trying to relive.
What type of small steps and advice do you give to your readers in your upcoming book that they'll be able to read and pick up on January 15th, I believe?
Yes.
What tips do you provide to them to improve this relationship with food and not see it as like your drug of choice?
Well, the first thing that I tell anyone who is beginning a weight loss journey, and I guess any kind of journey, is you've got to get really crystal clear on why. Mm-hmm. Why are you doing this? And I tell people, sit down with pen and paper, and this is what I did. I sat down with pen and paper by myself and just poured out everything that I could think of as to why I wanted to go on this journey that had zero to do with my weight or anyone else. Absolutely zero. Mm-hmm. And what it crystallized down to is I wanted to be the healthiest me I could be, mentally, emotionally, and physically. And what that looked like was I needed to shed about 100 pounds. I needed to do some self-introspection work and all these different pieces. But it took tears pouring down my face onto the paper, honest with myself about mm-hmm. why I wanted to go on this journey. Because anytime we go on a trip or a journey, and I talk about this all the time in the book, we're on a journey. All of us are on a journey. It may be a different journey, but we're all on a journey. The why is what keeps you in the car.
Yeah.
So that when you run into those traffic jams, you live in Miami, I live outside of Houston. You can run into a traffic jam where traffic comes to an absolute dead screeching halt, right? Mm-hmm. Do you park your car, get out of it, and walk home?
Of course not.
No, you don't. So once you decide why you want to go on this journey, you have to keep telling yourself, I'm not going to park my car, I'm not going to get out, I'm not going to go home. Mm-hmm. And I encourage the people and show the people in the book, I talk about different ways to keep yourself in the car. Take a little walk, change the music, call a friend, send a text message, do something so that you're not focusing on the traffic jam. Because when you're stuck in traffic, what is it that you do, Alex?
Play with the radio or use my phone.
There we go. Same thing. So when you're on one of these journeys, you do the same thing.
Right.
Because that's what we're doing. We're on a journey. Mm-hmm. And so I'm always encouraging the people, I'm always encouraging the reader to figure out how to stay in the car so that you're not parking it and you're not walking home.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, our why is like a lighthouse. It's what keeps us off the rocks. And if we do run into the rocks, it's what helps us get off of the rocks so that we can continue on with our journey.
Love it.
But the why, if we're crystal clear on why, the how is easy.
Mm-hmm. What's your why, Leslie?
My why is I want to live to be 153 years old in one day. And I want to be the absolute best version of me that I possibly can be. I want to be as healthy as I possibly can be. I don't want to be forced to say I cannot do or I am not able. And I want to have an open mind that's always learning, mm-hmm. so that I can engage with people in any walk of life.
Right.
and, be encouraged by other people and have an open mind and learn, because we are gifted with two kinds of muscles. One are the physical muscles, and the other is our mental muscle.
Totally.
And so the healthier I get, the more I'm flexing those muscles.
Well, it sounds like with this book and your overall mindset is that you've put essentially these systems in place to reframe your mind in certain situations. Going through your day, obviously we all eat. We all find ways to reward ourselves with food, and it's probably not the best thing to do. But so what I did hear you mention and talk about was journaling and writing things down and getting things out of your brain. That's been a huge factor for me my whole life. Just I've always drawn and painted and sketched, and that's kind of part of my journaling process too, is just get stuff out of my brain because that helps me remove stress and anxiety. But it's also a major factor in measuring your own achievements or progress. It doesn't necessarily need to be success, but overall that's going to compound for overall results. And one of the major things that I learned when I was at the diet and fitness company is that if you want to measure or get results faster, is that you have to track them. And tracking in a food journal or writing things down for your weight loss or for your success, that's probably the easiest way to get started, to understand yourself, learn every day, and how you can basically beat yesterday and win today, making every day better than the next. Talk a little bit about journaling and how that has been involved in your life.
Well, one aha moment that I had, and I talk about this in the book, is I recognize that we can lie to only two people. Two. There are only two people we can lie to, me and myself.
Yeah.
I sees everything, and the people around us see everything. So if we are lying to me and myself and saying, if I eat these cookies and nobody sees me, it's not going to matter. Well, I knows that it does matter. So when we track it, when we write it down, put it in black and white, pink and white, teal and white, whatever color we put it in, I use all kinds of color pens. Whatever color we put it in stops us from lying to me and myself. And then we can evaluate, and you write down the good, the bad, the whatever it is. And I don't really talk about bad. People talk about cheating. There is no such thing as cheating either. You can cheat three ways. One's on a test, the other's on your significant other, and the third way is the IRS. There are no other ways to cheat. It's a choice.
Right.
You make a good choice, a great choice, or a not so good choice.
Makes sense.
So if we're writing these things down, we can evaluate our choices. And we can stop lying to me and myself, who are doing nothing more than trying to protect us. That's their job, is to protect us. They have to tell us the lies that we need to hear to protect us. Well, in the book, I encourage people to not be afraid of the journey and to understand that we no longer need to lie to me and myself, because we are taking care of I. And we are helping I to become stronger.
Yeah.
So by tracking the stuff, we can say, there have been days when, if you were to count calories, I probably ate 5,000 calories. But you know what? It happened. And there are days when I say, oh, well. But you know what? We're not expected to be perfect. Progress is not about perfection. Happiness is not about being perfect either.
Right.
All we're trying to do is move forward a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. And one of the things that I like that you talk about is not only the why, but making little progress. And one of my favorite books, and you're probably going to laugh, is Don't Shoot the Dog. And it's about training animals.
Oh, wow.
And the main principle that they teach, and I fully embrace this now and encourage anybody else to, is we reward the behavior we want to continue, and we ignore the behavior we want to stop. So anytime I'm doing something, when I come to consciousness and I recognize, oh, well, that was a not so great choice, I really don't want to do it again, I just go, oh, well, and I move on. But let's pretend I'm at a party where they've got all these fabulous foods and it's really great. And I go ahead and get a little plate and I just get a little bit of everything. And I spend most of my time visiting with the people and enjoying the company of the people instead of the company of the food. I'll leave the party, the festivity, and I'll say, I am so proud of you. That was amazing. Didn't you have a great time? Wasn't that awesome? And so, and they said so, and that was so exciting. And then where is your focus? Your focus is on what you did, not what you didn't do.
Yeah.
And I talk about driving a car down a muddy road. I'm sure you've driven down muddy roads before.
Sure.
The hardest thing about driving down a really muddy road is if it doesn't have any ruts in it. It's hard to stay on the road. You have to drive slowly, you have to drive carefully, pay attention to what you're doing. But the more you drive down that muddy road, you start putting in ruts, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we think about our habits, our old habits, as being the deep ruts in that muddy road, when we start trying to lay in the new habits, we're trying to drive down this same muddy road and make new ruts. So we have to be very careful, and we have to celebrate every time we make it down that road.
Yeah.
So that we're willing to return again and go down that same path, the new path. Because it's much, much easier, isn't it, to drive down the deep ruts, right?
Yeah. And then you start to realize, when you get off course, and then what you think is going to satisfy you or be your drug of choice at that time, maybe you regret it, or you have, bad feelings about doing it. And then all of a sudden you're not happy. Like something that originally was going to make you happy, and now all of a sudden you regret it and make you feel worse. It's kind of like with exercise. It's like most normal average people don't want to necessarily exercise all day, but what I've seen is like how you feel after you're done, or what it does to the rest of your day or your body is certainly worth the effort. Mm-hmm. So if you have that same relationship with food, becoming more aware of it and staying within your patterns, and you do get off course, making sure that you realize them so you can get right back to that journey of what you're looking to accomplish.
Well, funny that you mentioned exercise. I'm one of these people, I hate to sweat. I'm allergic to sweat, can't stand it, don't believe in it, but you will find me in the gym about 5 days out of the week. In fact, now I do deadlifting.
Oh, nice.
I'm up to 210, yay.
Awesome.
My goal is 225. But anyway, the way that I started going to the gym was I would trick myself. Mm-hmm. And in the book, I talk about this. You say that I'm a person who goes to the gym. And so it doesn't make any difference if you go to the gym and stay 5 minutes, 5 seconds, 5 hours, whatever. You are a person who goes to the gym.
Right.
So you tell yourself this story.
Right.
Or I would tell myself, okay, if you go to the gym right now, when you get home, you can have a nice Diet Coke, you can have, whatever. Or if you go to the gym 5 days, then you get a sticker. I'm big on stickers. We give stickers to kindergartners for a reason, all right? We want to reinforce that behavior. It goes back to that don't shoot the dog thing.
There you go.
And so you get paper, you put it up, you write down things, you get stickers, you stick them on. Reinforce.
Yeah.
So I tricked myself into liking exercising. Mm-hmm. But I while I do not like to exercise, I enjoy the process, and I enjoy the result too. Mm-hmm. Because I'm stronger now than I ever have been in my whole entire life.
Yep.
And I won't tell you how old I am, but I do qualify for cheap coffee.
That's very impressive for you to be deadlifting and doing Olympic lifting and things like that. That's very impressive. I do a little bit of CrossFit here and there myself. I like how I feel afterwards, but when I'm in it, I hate it. I'm screaming at myself every single second. That's awesome.
The sweat.
Well, and here in Miami, that is a major part of it, that's for sure. So let's tell everybody a little bit more about the book. I assume you can find it, in Amazon and the rest places books are sold. You also have a website, youcaneatlove.com. And it's coming out on January 15th. Are you excited?
Yes. I'm very excited because I had an idea and I am now bringing it to fruition. So I'm very excited, but mostly I'm excited to see how it helps other people, to realize that you do not have to eat love anymore.
Yeah.
So January 15th, the paperback will be available on Amazon. You can check the week before to see if the Kindle version is available. But watch on the website. There'll be announcements on the website. I also have a Facebook page, You Can't Eat Love. And so I'll be posting announcements and excerpts from the book there. I think there are already a couple of excerpts from the book on the Facebook page. And for people who are interested, we will have a closed Facebook group if people want to participate in that and have closed private conversations. Excellent. And I am available if anybody does have a question, and you can reach me at leslie@youcan'teatlove.com. But this book has been a labor of love, not just for me, but to other people. So I'm really hoping that my objective is to help one person, just one person. If I help one person, then I've achieved my goal.
Awesome. To close out, what would be one final piece of advice that you would like to pass on for people to change their mindset and their relationship with food?
The first thing that I would like to say is you are enough. Regardless of what you might think before, you are enough. And as we're heading into this holiday season and this crazy week when, so much food is around, I would like for you to remind yourself you are enough and that you can make a choice ahead of time. And I recommend this all the time. I do it myself. Make a plan ahead of time. What are you going to do when you go to that party, to that family gathering? What are you going to say to the people who usually make the snide remarks to you? Practice all of that ahead of time. An actor never goes on stage without practicing. And what you're doing is you're walking on the stage of life. So practice ahead of time so that you are prepared. And oftentimes, no comment and walking away is the best option. But I'm just saying to you, right now, you are enough. And if you don't believe you are enough, I believe you are enough. And I hope that that is enough for you.
Thanks for your time, Leslie.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for making Happy Progress part of your day. How are you going to take advantage every day? Please let Alex know by visiting the website happyprogress.com. Together we will prove that progress equals happiness.